Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. This is Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things underneath a common sense lens. So if you hadn't heard, somebody inside the Walt Disney Company thought it was a great idea to re-release Disney's Snow White in theaters nationwide, increasing its current hold on the theaters over by 1,000 different theaters for Mother's Day, boys and girls, because yes, isn't that exactly what you want to take your mother to? A movie about an evil stepmother trying to murder her stepdaughter? Yes, I'm sure that's exactly what everybody wants to go see out there on Mother's Day. Well, needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, Disney decided to go full bore ahead with this genius idea after all, and it literally reminds me of the exact same idiocy that Sony had with the Morbius movie. After Morbin Time started trending on the internet, they decided to re-release that movie, all for it to fail miserably all over again. And ladies and gentlemen, history doesn't just repeat itself, it also rhymes, because the exact same thing happened to Disney's Snow White. Because as you can see over here from the headline from CosmicBook.News, Rachel Zegler's Snow White flop getting nationwide re-release. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, because it is Monday, we've already got the numbers, and needless to say, they are laughable and devastating and just another absolute embarrassment, more egg on the face of Bob Iger and everybody else over there at the Walt Disney Company in its modern era. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is absolutely hilarious. We're going to get into all of the juicy details, laugh, ridicule, and make fun of all of the stupid decisions that the current people in charge of the Walt Disney Company make. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing, and I could not do that without every single one of you. We just crossed 1,900, so we are sailing our way towards 2,000, boys and girls, 2K once again. So please smash that little subscribe button and join our lovely little fellowship over here in this corner of the internet. Also, if you'd like, let us know what you think about all this in the comment section down below. Did you think this was a stupid idea? Do you think this was a desperate attempt by Disney to get a little bit more money out of the box office? Do you think this was just somebody out there being completely and totally idiotic, thinking this was going to work in any way, shape, or form? Or did you go see it over the weekend on its re-release? Let us know what you think about that in the comment section down below. And if you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description down below. Consider becoming a member, and you will get your name at the end credits of every single one of these videos and at the end of all of our live streams. Also, don't forget to join us May 16th at 11 a.m. for my birthday stream, boys and girls. It's going to be a great time with a lot of guests, and we are going to have a real good time. All right, from CosmicBook.News and our dear sweet Matt McGloin. Despite bombing big time at the box office and following Disney's officially confirming Snow White failed, as i.e. if you missed our video on that, that was the earnings call last week that literally said that the Captain America and the Snow White movie out there literally completely and totally destroyed all the profits they'd made on movies in quarter one. Yeah, Disney literally admitted this movie flopped, and for some reason they still re-released it. Disney officially confirming Snow White failed. The Rachel Zegler flick is said to be getting a theatrical re-release in over 1,200 theaters this weekend. Snow White was thought to be ending its domestic run soon, which is currently only playing in 310 theaters. Now, obviously, this was written as of last week. He's updated it with all of that kind of stuff. This is just kind of the general idea of what was going on last week. But reports are coming down that Disney is re-releasing Snow White in over 1,200 theaters domestically, and they ended up releasing it in 1,330. They added over 1,000 theaters, as you can see here directly from the numbers. Snow White only made $84.4 million domestically, $116.3 million internationally, and a $202.8 million worldwide. Its budget is reported to be well over $300 million, which is guessed to have lost Disney at least $100 million. Not to mention the lost potential on this movie as well, the hundreds of millions of dollars, not to mention all the money they're going to lose on all this merchandising that is just going to end up in Ollie's bargain bin, just like so many other of the Disney Star Wars properties that they have gobbled up over the last few years. So here you go, your update. Snow White played in 1330s this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, bringing in $335K. And that's why we go over to the numbers website, boys and girls, straight from the horse's mouth, the officially sanctioned numbers chart for all box office numbers out there for all of Hollywood, weekend domestic chart for May 9th, 2025. Now you got to scroll past Thunderbolts and Sinners. I mean, even a Minecraft movie, which is also, oh, and that's the other thing too. Snow White and Minecraft both released digitally, I believe, Wednesday at the time of this recording of this video right now. So literally, it's one of them situations where this stuff is coming out digitally and Minecraft is still crushing it in the box office. So you got to go all the way down past Until Dawn, The Accountant, Minecraft movie, all this other kind. Number 13, lucky number 13 for Disney's Snow White for the weekend. $335,000, which is up 54% from last week, but that's also because they increased the theaters by 8,000. This thing was only in barely 300 theaters prior to them increasing it for Mother's Day weekend to a grand total of $252 per theater, boys and girls. We even did the math earlier. We got 251.8. So we'll round it up to 252, bringing their grand total domestic to $86 million. This was pathetic. Literally, the theaters lost money by showing this out there. I mean, this is insane. You could have kept, of course, our Dirt Sweet Revenge of the Sith, Star Wars' Revenge of the Sith, in theaters all throughout May and would have made way more money on that than you would have continuing to release Snow White out there. This was a stupid mistake and just shows you that Disney has no idea what they're doing, has no idea what their audiences actually want. Because for some reason, even after Bob Iger himself admitted this movie was a flop, they still went forward with re-releasing it, only to make a grand total of $252 per theater. You could have pulled practically anything out of the Disney vault throughout almost any of the past outside of the most recent stuff. Like go back to anything prior to 2000. You could have released anything in Disney's catalog practically in theaters out there and made more money than Disney's live action version of Snow White. This is pathetic and it's exactly what Disney deserves. They've made these decisions and now it's absolutely failed miserably. On Wednesdays, Disney released its quarterly investor report and named Snow White along with Marvel's Captain America Brave New World as official flops. And of course, Thunderbolts isn't doing very well right now. Any of that kind of stuff. Obviously, we talked about this. Star Wars should have kept Revenge of the Sith in theaters. They would have made a whole lot more money. And who knows, maybe even would have brought the actual global total domestic haul to $1 billion for that movie. There's no reason it couldn't have happened. It's not very far away from it. And guess what? Fans will go out there and see that movie over and over again because it's so good. And a lot of them, especially in the ones that grew up post that era that were raised on this stuff by their parents, absolutely would have loved to be able to go see that thing in theaters for the very first time. And it's just so stupid that they decided instead to have our dear sweet Rachel Zegler go back into the theaters on Mother's Day weekend of all places for an evil stepmother story, to put it back into theaters and to only have egg on their face with only $252 per theater. That is pathetic. And like I said earlier, here you go. Snow White is directed by Mark Webb and also stars Gal Gadot. The re-release comes just prior to Disney announcing Snow White hits digital starting Tuesday, May 13th. So I was off by a day. It actually starts tomorrow. Then the film will become available on 4K, Ultra HD, Blu-ray, and yada, yada, yada starting June 24th. And I wish we could get the numbers for that because I guarantee you the digital sales are going to be absolutely pathetic. I was listening to Orion from RK Outpost this morning talking about, we might see like a post from them talking about, 300,000 households globally watched it in the first week, or, some nonsense like that. But actual sales numbers we'll never get. But I mean, it's one of them situations where all you have to do is look at what it did in the box office to what you think it's going to do on digital. And then after having a re-release on this weekend, on Mother's Day weekend, on a family weekend, where a lot of families are going out there, doing events, doing things as groups, theaters were always a big thing, but literally $252 on re-release. There is nothing in the vault practically that you probably could have re-released and made less money with this. And guess what, Disney? It's exactly what you deserve because you got Morbius'd. You literally got Morbius'd by someone inside of your very own company because this is the exact same thing that happened. And the worst part is at least Sony was mistaken about the fact that it was trending and maybe they actually thought a lot of people really did enjoy it and it wasn't just turning into a gag. That just showed the ignorance of the executives out there to how the culture and the internet actually works. This one, I have no idea because Disney admitted it was a flop and then for some reason re-released it in theaters. Well, good job, Walt Disney Corporation. Good job, Bob Iger. Good job, Disney marketing team, because now all you have done is given content creators like me and so many bigger and much better at this job other people that are in this same sphere an excuse to laugh and make fun of your movie once again. And that's exactly what you deserve. Between completely and totally destroying the story, Rachel Zegler's constant insufferable campaign to destroy the original that completely and totally upset the fans, and then of course the abomination of the horrifying CGI dwarves instead of hiring actual real actors for your live action, all equaled out to one thing and one thing only. Anybody with half a brain in their head knew that this movie was going to fail at the box office. And it's the same thing with re-releasing it on Mother's Day weekend. It failed once again, just like anybody with half a brain could have told you it was going to, but clearly there's nobody inside the Walt Disney Company that has even half a brain in the decision-making process, and this proves that. And after all, Disney, $252 a theater, it's exactly what you deserve.